Hello there friends, welcome back to another episode of Generation Tech. My name is Alan. So you're thinking about opening a spice cartel on the lawless Outer Rim because of all the potential lucrative financial opportunities there. Maybe you watched that awesome reality TV show about illegal small claim spice mining on Kessel. Or maybe the Republic's strict financial laws and ethics are limiting you from reaching your fullest potential. It doesn't really matter, I guess. Some of you have known since you sold your first death stick in high school that you're gonna be a spice cartel boss one day. But hanging around clubs in the underworld of Coruscant selling death sticks to randos is a whole different game from running a major criminal operation like the one Jabba the Hutt built over the centuries. You can't just jump right into this industry without a plan. But luckily you guys have me, Alan, the guy who gives you advice that you never asked for. And so today we're gonna teach you guys how to protect your illicit business and what kind of overhead you can expect. You see, running a major criminal organization is not all that different from running a corporation or some other kind of legal business. The only difference is the money you would normally spend on lawyers to destroy your enemies and protect you from the government is now going to be spent on muscle. Because when you cross that line of legality, you get the freedom of chaos. But also that chaos has the freedom of invading your business and eventually killing you and taking over your operation. Just ask the Imperial Guardsmen of Cadia, they know what I'm talking about. Anyway, one of the biggest costs you're going to have to accept when you're running this illicit business is protection. And this protection will not only keep you safe, it can also potentially make you more money. Now, some individuals might recommend using droids for muscle because they don't require much maintenance or pay after that initial purchase price. While others might tell you a Trandoshan or a Mandalorian is going to be able to defeat anything your enemies throw at you. I'd say both are right. A layered defense is your best defense because it's diverse, unpredictable, and redundant. Now, Mandalorian, Trandoshans, and droids, they all have their own strengths and weaknesses, but they're all relatively expensive. What you need for your outer layer, however, is something very cheap, like landmines or tripwires, or maybe a pair of Gammorean guards. See, Gammoreans are essentially a race created specifically to be door bouncers. Wherever Jabba the Hutt went, he always had a few of these guys watching the door. Not only were Gammoreans pretty cheap to hire because I'm pretty sure they didn't know how to count, they're also quite simple-minded, which meant that they were both stubborn and very loyal. They didn't really have enough brain cells to betray their Hutt overlords, and at the same time, they wouldn't hesitate to attack someone that they clearly had no chance of defeating. There's no fear in stupidity. With an average height of 1.8 meters or 5'9" and a weight of 100 kilos or 220 pounds, they were quite stocky and known for their brute strength. Gammorean males spent their entire lives training in melee combat, which doesn't necessarily mean that they were very skilled or coordinated or developed some kind of special fighting style, but they were usually pretty damn tough. Gammoreans also showed no interest in ranged weapons like blasters or slug throwers, and they believed that stealth kills were dishonorable. So, yeah, they just like fighting people straight on. It's a little bit toxic. So now onto the meat of the video, how many Gammoreans are you gonna need to protect your compound, and how frequently are you gonna have to replace them because they die a lot. So let's take a look at some workplace incidents at Jabba's palace. Well, there's that one time when Maul and the Death Watch came to pay a visit to take over his operations. Two Gammoreans get shot down before they even land their assault team. Another one is beat down by a Mandalorian. Another is shot and killed immediately after. And then on their way into Jabba's main audience hall, another 3 Gammoreans get killed by Maul's entourage. That's 6 Gammoreans killed and 1 wounded, and those are only the ones that we can see. A place like Jabba's palace most likely had at least 24 of these Gammorean guards outside with another dozen inside. Now, Maul's hostile assault on Jabba's palace most likely is not something that happens frequently. It's more like a 1 in every 2 to 5 years kind of thing. But what is more common is for smaller groups of disgruntled individuals to arrive and cause trouble. Like that time shortly after the Battle of Yavin when Darth Vader comes to Jabba the Hutt to hire some mercenaries to track down Luke Skywalker. As customary, the Dark Lord of the Sith kills the 2 Gammoreans waiting at the door, just like Maul, and then gets into a brawl in front of Jabba, killing another Gammorean along with a few other guards, which brings the total Gammorean death count to 3 in that incident. I actually think Darth Vader really did control himself in this situation. He could have killed a lot more Gammoreans. Now, Jabba the Hutt doesn't just use Gammoreans for protection. Sometimes he'll actually use the Gammoreans to test prospective mercenaries that he might want to hire. When the terrifying Wookiee bounty hunter, the Black Chrysanthemum, offered to do a job for Jabba, the Hutt didn't agree to his ridiculous fee until they saw him in action. And so Jabba sends 8 Gammoreans at the Wookiee, and they all get gunned down immediately. By this point, you're probably realizing that if you are a main character in the Star Wars universe, it is almost customary for you to kill several Gammoreans on your way into Jabba's palace. Even Princess Leia shoots the 2 guards as custom when she arrives pretending to be a bounty hunter with Chewbacca in tow in Return of the Jedi. And shortly after, when Luke Skywalker arrives, the Jedi from the light side, he doesn't spare the 2 Gammorean guards either. He just force chokes them. Pretty sure that's like a dark side thing, but okay. And then even when Jabba the Hutt himself has expired and Bib Fortuna takes over for a short while, the plight of the Gammoreans really just doesn't change. When Boba Fett and Fennec Shand arrive to take over, the sniper takes out another Gammorean. So there you have it, 6 different incidents spread out through the course of a few decades, and those are only the incidents that we see on screen. There are plenty more anecdotes about Gammoreans getting killed in the line of duty, protecting Jabba's palace in video games and novels, and I'm pretty sure in the Gammoreans' language, Jabba's palace is probably slang for hell or the afterlife. Now, equally as worrying is the amount of peaceful visits to Jabba the Hutt's palace by individuals like Baron Papanuida, Count Dooku, or Cad Bane. They seem to occur far less frequently than the more violent incidents. So financial forecasting like Jedi prophecies are not an exact science, but we'll try to address your future needs as accurately as possible. First, let's start off with how many Gammorean guards you'll need. Let's assume your operation will be similar in size to Jabba's palace. I would say it's customary to keep at least 2 or 3 Gammoreans at your door to screen any troublemakers. These Gammoreans will soak up stray blaster bolts, lightsabers, detonators, Sith lightning, or any other crazy weapons that potential visitors can bring to your palace. The idea here is to test the patience of these new visitors and see how much they are willing to cooperate with house rules. Now, obviously, instead of Gammoreans, you could just use landmines, but I believe Gammoreans are a little bit more polite towards your potential visitors. And, Jabba the Hutt has a lot of visitors, and a lot of them are going to be sketchy as hell. But usually, after a relationship is made, like in Cad Bane's case, there is a smaller chance for violence at the door. But still, I wouldn't be surprised if Jabba the Hutt loses at least 1 guard a month just in the entrance area. That is a relatively conservative estimate, by the way. At the same time, you can expect attrition to wear down your Gammoreans. They don't have a very long lifespan, not because of biological limitations, but because they are incredibly stupid and prone to accidents, and also violence amongst each other for no reason. On a yearly basis, you can expect at least 3 Gammoreans to die from workplace accidents or infighting. And then on a bi-yearly basis, another gang or a powerful group of individuals will try to take over Jabba's palace. These incidents can really put a dent into your spending budget. The loyalty and stupidity and lack of ranged weapons by the Gammorean guards means that you'll probably suffer heavy casualties in any large skirmishes, so you can expect to lose at least a dozen Gammorean guards every 2 years. And so on a yearly basis, you're probably going to lose at least 21 Gammorean guards a year, and perhaps more if you decide to actually send Gammorean guards on away missions, which honestly is a terrible idea because they could get scared or hungry or lost or all 3, and then they'll revert to rampage mode, at which point they'll probably get gunned down. And so while this estimate might seem a bit high, it's always good to look at the worst case scenario and understand what the cost associated to your business could be. I mean, sure, you might have a peaceful year or 2, but peace never really lasts in the Outer Rim. Generally speaking, I recommend recruiting Gammoreans straight from the clans themselves. These aliens are ridiculously stupid and can be tricked into completely unfair and unbalanced contracts. Sometimes Gammoreans are just happy to have something to do and some skulls to crush. Just don't make them read or sign anything because that will get them angry and that will probably get you killed. Also, don't use recruiting agency guys. They're gonna try to entice you with offers to give you free replacements for any Gammorean guards you lose. But these guys are just unnecessary middlemen who are profiting from exploitation that you yourself should be conducting because you're a criminal. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Let me know in the comment section below if you disagree with my estimates and if you have any good alternatives to Gammoreans to guard your, criminal cartel base. Anyway, guys, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button down below so you don't miss out on the rest of our awesome content. And as usual, thanks for joining us today. If you're watching this, you are Generation Tech. Woo! Finished.